Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hello everyone. I am Noriza Sharistar with metric number 1818128 from section 1 of Mathematical Economics course, and today we will explore the use of mathematics in international trade through one of its fundamental theory, which is the Heckscher-Ohlin theory. The Heckscher-Ohlin theory focuses on comparative advantage and factor abundance, and is divided into two parts, which are the Heckscher-Ohlin theorem and the factor price equalization. For the means of understanding, this theory requires some assumptions, whereby we will assume there are two countries, which are Malaysia and China, with perfectly competitive economies, producing two same commodities, shoes and computers, which are produced under constant return to scale with identical technologies, with two factor of production, which is capital and labor, which are perfectly mobile and fully employed. The Heckscher-Ohlin theorem depicts that the relatively labor-rich country will specialize in and export relatively labor-intensive commodities and import the relatively capital-intensive commodities and vice versa. To illustrate, we assume that Malaysia is a capital-abundant country, which means that it has higher relative capital supply than China, which is a labor-abundant country. We can denote that the capital-to-labor ratio of Malaysia is higher than the capital-labor ratio of China, and the labor-to-capital ratio of China is higher than the labor-to-capital ratio of Malaysia. In addition, we assume that the production of shoe is labor-intensive relative to production of computer, which means labor-to-capital ratio of producing shoe is higher than labor-to-capital ratio of producing computers, and capital-to-labor ratio of producing computers is higher than capital-to-labor ratio of producing shoes. From these assumptions, we can now take a look at the production possibility frontier, which is PPF. So, from the PPF, we can see that in Malaysia, the curve is skewed towards the production of computers, while in China, the curve is skewed towards the production of shoes. From here, we can also derive that the relative price of computer is equal to the slope of PPF and equilibrium, which is also known as the marginal rate of transformation. So the relative product price of Malaysia is lower than the relative product price of in China. Thus, Malaysia has comparative advantage of computers and will export as it is relatively better endowed. In autarky, assuming both countries have the same preferences, their indifference map would also be the same, which can be seen as indifference curve 1, which is the tangent to the PPF of Malaysia at point A and the tangent to the PPF of China at point A prime. As Malaysia has comparative advantage of computers and China has comparative advantage of shoes, both countries will specialize and trade to reach a higher indifference curve. Through specialization, Malaysia will produce at point B, while China will produce at point B prime. Then through trade between both products, where Malaysia export computers and import shoes, and conversely, China export shoes and import computers, both countries will reach point of consumption at point E equals to E prime. Thus through trade, Malaysia and China gain and are better off as point E is on a higher indifference curve than before. The next part of the Heckscher-Ohlin theory is the factor price equalization theorem, which states that free international trade will result in equalization in product prices and factor prices. This theorem explores the effect of trade on a country product prices and factor prices, which are denoted by wage rate and rental rate. As both countries are under perfect competition with the same technology, there is a relationship between wage to rent ratio and the relative price ratio. So in autarky, as Malaysia specializes in computers, production of shoe will be reduced and causes relative demand for capitals to increase, which leads rental rate to rise, thus wage to rent ratio in Malaysia will be lower than in China. This causes product prices relative to production of computers to also be lower, thus showing that Malaysia has comparative advantage on computers. And the opposite goes with China, which specializes in shoes. This causes relative demand for labor to increase and lead to rise in wage rate, thus causing wage to rent ratio to be higher than Malaysia. So through trade, production in both countries will shift, which causes resources to shift too. Firms in Malaysia will rent capital up to the point where marginal product equals to rental rate, while firms in China will hire labor up to the point where marginal product equals to wage rate. These shifts lead to product prices of both countries to be equal at point PB equals to PB prime, which conclude that both countries share the same marginal productivity relationships. In conclusion, mathematics is very important for international trade. Through this theory, economists are able to determine the ideal product price and quantity of production before specialization and trade. This will then promote economic efficiency. That is all from me. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.